What's up guys, Shadetree Surgeon here with a video that a lot of you guys have been asking me to do. I get it all the time in the comments, I get tons of DMs about it. It even comes up in Google suggested searches even though I've never actually made the video on it. So here we go. Let's talk about Indian motorcycles and why I think they suck. I'll start this off by saying I am by no means an expert. I'm just a dude who knows what he likes and ain't afraid to call bullshit on the stuff that I don't like. These are nothing but my opinions, and if you don't like that, you can get the fuck off my lawn and go make your own videos, you lazy piece of shit. But for the time being, back to Indian and why they're an even bigger disappointment than you are to your father. I'm not gonna waste any time talking about Indian's long and rich history, because the Indian today that's owned by Polaris has less than fucking nothing to do with the original Indian. In fact, Polaris's insistence on marionetting the corpse of Burt Monroe and Indian around like some sort of Weekend at Bernie's knockoff is strike fucking one.
Bye-bye, ladies. We'll see you later. God, is this great or what?
Hey, here's the cliff notes on the history of Indian. Harley made bikes, Indian made bikes. Harley ran their company better than Indian did, so Harley stayed in business and Indian went out of business in the 50s. And ever since Indian went out of business in the 50s, the Indian name has been passed around more than a fresh twink at San Quentin. From the 1960s until now, there has been more than half a dozen different corporations that have tried to beat that dead horse back to life. They have slapped the Indian name on everything from rebadged Royal Enfields to S&S powered Harley Davidson models. In my eyes at least, Indian has zero credibility as a historic brand name anymore, and trying to present it as such is a little bit insulting.
So, which would you rather do? Stroll down memory lane or cruise down it? Retro styling, modern engineering, Indian. America's original motorcycle. See the entire tribe at Indian Motorcycle North Texas.
Now, tired and out of touch marketing, dick riding the ghost of a ghost, nauseating as all that may be, it really has no bearing on whether Polaris's iteration of Indian is making good machines or not. The new Indian story, for me at least, begins with Victory motorcycles. I liked Victory a lot. I liked that they existed as a purely original American competitor to Harley Davidson. And for a while there, it actually looked like Victory was doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, they were nowhere near Harley Davidson's numbers, but few are. Now, when Polaris picked up the Indian name and saw a couple of years of faltering sales on the Victory side of things, they decided they were only going to be able to save one child from the fire, and they picked Indian. Now, here's why that decision pissed me off so much. For a while there, it really seemed like Indian and Victory were going to coexist and even play off each other, much like Ford and Mercury or KTM and Husqvarna. To me, at least, it seemed like Victory was going to be the performance-oriented branch, while Indian was going to be the more traditional cruiser-oriented branch. And when you saw motorcycles like the Victory Octane and the Indian Scout side by side, it really reinforced that fact. I was genuinely excited. I just thought that this would free Victory up from having to be traditional and we just see wilder and crazier stuff out of them. I wanted to see the envelope pushed. I wanted to see the idea of what an American motorcycle should be turned on its ear. And I really thought Victory was going to do that. And I even thought that Indian was going to help that happen for Victory. And hey, I'm just a dude. What the fuck do I know about how big corporations work, profits and losses and all that shit? I don't, but I'll tell you, it stung all that much more when Polaris decided to axe Victory, their performance-oriented brand, for this. More baggers. The fucking Green Roadmaster, man. It's just like an amalgamation of everything that's wrong with motorcycles today. And Polaris killed Victory for this. They said no to innovation. They said no to stepping outside of the box. We'll stay in the box, thank you very much. We actually quite like it here. It was just so disappointing to see yet another performance-oriented American motorcycle brand crushed beneath the wheels of yet another gaudy, overpriced land barge on two wheels. Now, let me tell you something. Just because I personally don't care for the Roadmaster or any of its other iterations, that doesn't make it a bad motorcycle. I have several friends who own Indian Roadmasters and they can't stop singing their praises. By all accounts, it's a great motorcycle, and my problem with the Roadmaster isn't about what it is. My problem lies with what it isn't, because it isn't anything special. It's certainly a decent bike with good features and a solid engine. The problem is that it's really just another Harley clone. The Indian Roadmaster doesn't want to be different. It doesn't want to be special. It just wants to be a Harley. Just like the Kawasaki Vulcan, the Yamaha Roadstar, and Honda's VTX series, all these bikes, they just want to be Harley Davidsons. Every single one of them is nothing but a Harley alternative, specifically designed to take little nibbles out of Harley's giant market share.
Choice in American motorcycles is here.
That doesn't make them bad bikes. Hell, I owned a Kawasaki Vulcan and I loved that motorcycle, and arguably many of them are much better bikes than Harleys are. But at the end of the day, they're still just wannabes, and none of those bikes would exist without Harley Davidson. The whole reason that we have modern engine manufacturers designing air-cooled pushrod V-twins right now is because of Harley. And of course, Victory was just as guilty as the rest of them in that regard, but you know, I thought I could see Victory breaking free of that and just becoming something different and special in its own right. But instead of that happening, we got the Thunderstroke. Great engine, sure, but firmly inside the box. Air-cooled, push rods, single pin crankshaft. Like I said, it doesn't want to be an Indian. It wants to be a Harley. You look at it, you can tell it wants to have a soul. It just wants to take shortcuts to get there. They're trying to manufacture heart, and it just isn't working for me, man. If you've purchased one of these bikes, don't think I'm disparaging you. Just good on you, man. They're great motorcycles, and it is nice to see more American-made products on the road. It's a good bike. I'm just not buying Polaris's bullshit. Now, there is a glimmer of hope, and it's called the Indian Scout.
The streets are extended gutters, and the gutters are full of blood. And when the drains finally scab over, all the vermin will drown, and all the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us." And I'll whisper, "No."
Now, personally, I find the Indian Scout about as aesthetically pleasing as a bag of smashed assholes. Sorry, Baldy. I really, really don't like the way it looks, but I absolutely love what it is. What the Scout has is a 1200cc liquid-cooled double overhead camshaft V-twin, and Indian even managed to stop themselves from sticking fake cooling fins all over the thing. Bravo. This is an impressive engine. This is an engine that has room to grow. But what it is a big ol' middle finger to the idea of what American motorcycles are supposed supposed to be. I feel like the Scout and its ugly duckling engine, they represent what Indian should be 1,000 times better than the Roadmaster ever could. The Roadmaster, it only gives the illusion of choice. The Scout is actually something new. It's something different. And come on, man, let's have more of that. So I started out this video telling you why I think Indian sucks, but I'm gonna finish it telling you why I think they might actually turn out to be fucking awesome. So it seems to me anyway that Indian is just kind of letting its thunderstroke, I fucking hate saying that, its thunderstroke bagger line just exist, while continuing to put money into developing the Scout series. Or at least it seems like they're spending money to me. There was that whole biker build-off series that they sponsored, and they're very obviously working with, and I hope dropping cash on Jason Paul Michaels of Standard Motorcycle in Orlando. And I absolutely love that they've got Tony Carbajal out there ripping up stunt lots on a modified Scout. But most importantly out of all of this is the fact that they are putting big bucks into racing. They've actually even developed a 750cc liquid-cooled V-twin that is specifically only for flat track racing. I mean, that's a pretty big commitment. And it's definitely heartening to see the old adage of wins on Sunday and sells on Monday is still in effect. Hell, there's even rumors everywhere that FTR 1200 flat track custom bike that they built, which is gorgeous, is actually going to become a full-blown production model. Now, that's a bike I'd consider buying. That's something different. That's something unique. When I look at the FTR 1200, I feel like that is a bike that deserves to be called an Indian more than anything else that they make. And I say, why stop there? Take it further. One of Indian's gigantic advantages over Harley Davidson is that they're owned by Polaris, and Polaris already has this huge stockpile of performance engines that are just waiting to be adapted to be in a motorcycle. Can you imagine like a big ADV bike, kind of along the lines of a BMW GS or a Honda Africa Twin with the 1000cc turbocharged 168 horsepower engine out of the Polaris RZR in it? That'd be a hell of a motorcycle. Indian, man, I'd buy that bike. Imagine a big old honking supermoto along the lines of the Husqvarna 701 with the ProStar 800 twin in it. That'd be a fucking ripping ass bike. And with all Polaris's years and years and years of off-road knowledge, why the hell can't we get an American-made dirt bike from Indian? Polaris already builds some of the most amazing off-road vehicles on the planet, so why not give us one with two wheels? Harley builds just cruisers, so where in the rule book does it say that Indian has to follow suit? I would just so much rather see Indian branch out into all kinds of motorcycles, more like a Japanese manufacturer than just like fetter themselves in order to follow Harley Davidson's business plan. Naked sport bikes, ADV bikes, dual sports, dirt bikes, why the fuck not, man? Better than just another fucking bagger built for some baby boomers who are getting too old to ride anyway. I know I'm biased with the dirt thing, trust me, I know this, but that is where the future motorcyclists all start. Why do you think KTM and Yamaha and Kawasaki and everybody else dump so much money into their racing programs and so much money into their youth-oriented racing programs? Because they know how to create a lifelong customer before that customer is even old enough to drive. And you do that by sticking an 8-year-old on a KX65 and letting them rip ass around a racetrack. And that kid's gonna be team green for his whole life. I'm certainly no expert on this shit, but it just seems to me like Indian would do a lot better figuring out how they're gonna sell a motorcycle one day to somebody who's 8 years old now, rather than trying to peddle off a few more baggers to the dwindling supply of baby boomers. Hope springs eternal, man. And while I do love Harley Davidson, they're a slave to their own persona. That same heritage that they use to sell motorcycles, one day it's gonna slow or even stop their growth. Right now, Indian enjoys the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. So I really hope they don't voluntarily choose to shackle themselves down with manufactured heritage. I'd love to know what you guys think about all this. Leave me a comment down below. And if you like this video, share it with somebody, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if I've mortally offended you by saying something unkind about a motorcycle that you enjoy, then please just take a moment to reflect on why your sense of self-worth and honor is so intrinsically tied to an inanimate object that somebody else designed and created. And when you're done doing that, please feel free to go fuck yourself. Till next time, guys, keep it weird.